Lost in Seattle here, and we're gonna talk about the ADOS situation going on. How long this been going on?
Three.
Three.
Is it 3 months? No, it's been going for probably about like 6 or 7 months now.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. First, let me just say, I I like all these people. By the way, I don't dislike them on a too much, at least. Definitely dislike a lot of the actions being performed by some of them. But at the end of the day, this is not good how things are being handled.
I mean, there's some people that you fuck with, and there's some people you don't fuck with
as much. Yeah, I get it. But Darity, as people who follow the ADOS situation, he kind of stopped dealing with the leaders of it.
There's supposed to be no leaders.
Supposed to be leaderless, but but now it has leaders. It's not a lineage no more either. But anyway, it went away from certain things. I guess he didn't like the energy from the top, so he kind of distanced himself from the leadership. He did not distance himself.
Well, he was told to mind his business.
Yeah,
and he minded well.
It's so crazy how that happened. But anyway, a couple months ago, he, at least publicly, what we know, publicly, him and a few other people were angry that a chapter in Atlanta didn't support a particular candidate. And they were like, why y'all not helping her? She supports ADOS. It's her platform. And other people in that chapter were like, mind your business. We know what we're doing. We vetted. Da-da-da. Kind of rub some people the wrong way. And Yvette pretty much came out and told Darity to stay in his lane. It was already kind of done at that point. But I think it probably had been bubbling from previous to that, probably. But his latest situation where he asked the question, my trial balloon are possibly considering pre-1950s black immigrants to the U.S. for inclusion in the pure reparations claim as an exception to the lineage creation has met with a fire of criticism. Much of it is very well reasoned. I won't repeat this idea anyway, says fast. So he had an idea that should people here pre-1950s, even immigrants, be included in the reparations claim that they have. Now, the reason why, when he first asked this question, I didn't get angry because if you remember, I asked you the same question. I said, when Cicely Tyson passed, I said, well, this woman got here and I found out she was Caribbean, or
I told you
she's from the islands. And I said, well, she came here in 1920. She went through Jim Crow. Can she not be a part of the American claim? She did go through stuff here. Now, I'm not saying that I want people outside of America to be included. It's just, you have to answer those questions. Those are things that have to be asked.
We don't know what Cicely Tyson family came here with. We don't know if they came here financially. It does matter.
Another question. If they were, let's say that their family was wealthy. Well, what do we say about the Harlem Renaissance? The people that lived through the Harlem Renaissance, those black people, they were wealthy.
They were.
What about
they are ADOS.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Do they not? I'm saying, is their justice claim at that point only for slavery, or does it still include Jim Crow, even though they were wealthy?
But we know a lot of immigrants that came here through, who were here during the Jim Crow times, that America sought those people out to bring them here.
My point is,
give them ADOS jobs.
My point is, if they're wealthy, doesn't negate the system they were in, the system that they were in.
But if they are being brought here to replace...
No, Travis, listen.
I am listening.
If they are wealthy, because you made a point that people like Cicely Tyson, if her family came here already wealthy and they chose to come here, they shouldn't be included. And I'm like, well, what about the wealthy black American families during Jim Crow? Did they not count in the Jim Crow part, only the slavery descendant part? That's the questions you have to ask. Because this is a question they're going to ask if this ever goes to a real court. These questions will be asked. Well, who gets included? There's immigrants that came here certain other. But when you start including immigrants, which is what the argument against this came in, is, well, now we got to include Chinese people.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was about to head into. What about other ethnic groups that also face Jim Crow?
But his specific thing said black immigrants. So
he specifically said black immigrants, but we know that other ethnics they could weasel their way into this conversation.
Well, I know the whole point of the situation is it's just thinking out loud. It's not meant to be how things go. It's thinking out loud, and there should be nothing wrong with that. But As we see here, Yvette went on a tirade against him, pretty much saying, pretty much saying his whole argument was bad faith, saying that he was signaling to other groups that he's willing to include black immigrants. She pretty much attacked him viciously, and openly, by the way, something that we're supposed to be against. But she attacked him viciously, like he's selling out. And it's like, well, he said out of his own mouth, he was thinking out loud, he is in academia. Do you think he should get a pass for that?
Well, I don't want to be. Listen, I'm one of the people that have been following Yvette and Tone, but I'm not like a fanboy. I don't agree with everything that they do. Dr. Sandy Darity has every right to voice his opinions. They're pretty much going from what his talking points is. I can see how some people would be upset with him saying this out loud. He could have possibly got with a group of people and did this not on the internet, asked this question.
But he's in academia. Thinking out loud is normal.
Yeah.
You're supposed to question everything.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But when you put this type of stuff into the universe, it gets to, people thinking like other groups that are for immigrants getting reparations, such as in Cobra. So I can probably see why she reacted the way that she reacted, but she should have not reacted the way that she reacted, because to her it's probably signaling that he's willing to get in bed with organizations that are willing to give immigrants reparations.
Well, that's what the argument she used, that he's a sellout.
and I haven't seen any of this, by the way, because
Well, I don't follow any of them except I follow Sandy Darity and I follow Otis,
Mr. Otis,
the Mr. Riddles.
Otis Redding.
But somebody made a point that it seems like she's more, because we can agree that they started the whole ADOS HQ thing, which means they want to make things more orderly, and stuff.
They
like
want
that.
to corporatize things,
which goes into a whole nother level. Originally, when a couple months ago, when it was in Cobra or Capricorn, whatever it's called is.
In Cobra,
they allegedly, Tony Yvette accused them of trying to patent ADOS, the design, the colors, everything. And people were like, that's crazy, that's bullshit. They're gonna try and patent it so they can shut you down. So people cheered for them to patent it themselves. Now, apparently they do not have the patent for it. It's still pending. But now it seems like they are trying to stop people from using ADOS. So we went from defending them so that anybody can use ADOS. At least that's what I thought. If Yvette and Tone patent it, then that means everyone will be able to use it. So it won't shut the movement down. But instead, it seems like they're trying to do what in Cobra was allegedly trying to do. Now they're trying to stop people from using it certain ways. And it's like, well, what's the point? If you're going to only allow you to speak from it and you're not a face of it and now you're the leader, which once again, it started as a leaderless movement. Now it has leaders. And now it's, well, my way or the highway.
But there is a difference between leaders and founders.
What's the difference? If you constantly profess that anything you say is right because you're the founder, you're a leader then. If you change the rules because you're the founder, then you're the leader.
I mean, if they are the founder of it, they have every right to try and, patent it.
I agree, but don't push the movement as a open movement and then say, oh no, we're the leaders now. We want to be leaders now.
Well, I don't think they still haven't come out and said they're the leaders.
They don't have to. I mean, they've done everything to show that they're leaders now. They're telling people who is and ain't ADOS. Now you can't be ADOS if you're not part of the HQ. If you're just a regular Joe, you can't tell your mama, you can't tell your grandma, your cousins that they're ADOS because they're not part of the political movement. It's no longer a lineage, which is the whole purpose of this. People following this movement because you're separating the idea of just being African American to being a native black or a black who was here through slavery and Jim Crow. But now you're saying that don't matter. You have to be part of our political movement now.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what's the point? Now you're just another political movement. You might as well just try to replace the NAACP then.
And they definitely need to get the fuck up out of here.
So right here, Somebody said, me. Yvette should give her in tone the same rigorous critic she gave Patrice Cullors when Black Lives Matter chapters wrote a letter of failed leadership. If I remember correctly, it was Dr. Cosby and the wonderful staff at St. Stephen's Baptist Church that facilitated the conference. And this was one of the things she said that kind of, made me look at her kind of weird. She said, if Tone Talks and I spend years building a house and a few folks run inside the house with their bed and blankets while we're building, those folks don't get to make the argument that this is their house because they got inside first. It's an odd position to take. And then you got here and also ADOS.com was up with the sign that there was construction in process in the blueprint. In addition, we did a full national conference. We asked for input to create a conference financial or otherwise beyond support of a few speakers. Now, we know that the whole idea that there are certain groups or chapters inside the ADOS movement that did more of the groundwork, and this is them discrediting them, saying it doesn't matter what you did. We gave you the idea. Just because you put it into action don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I definitely don't agree with them discrediting the people that have been doing the footwork. It's just like, yes, you may have put it together, but we are like the actual people that's out here organizing and getting stuff passed.
Yeah.
Because like you and Tone, y'all didn't go to Washington D.C. for that when Byron Island was trying to get that case going. Tony Yvette, they weren't there, and they did say they couldn't be there because they already have stuff planned. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. But this is a clip of her from I want to say 4 years ago. I guess she supported Bernie Sanders. And this is some things she said that kind of go against what she says now.
Well, listen, I would tell anyone that I am in favor of reparations, but reparations for me looks a lot like what Bernie Sanders defined. Reparations for me is massive.
So Bernie Sanders' platform was free healthcare, free college, debt, get rid of people,
get rid of debt,
free, get rid of debt. And
but no reparations.
But no reparations.
It's not about a color thing. It's a human thing.
It's a class thing.
Massive investment in poor communities, and for me, the whole problem with Ta-Nehisi Coates and what he did to me was really intellectually bankrupt, because what he's asking Black people to do is follow this kind of identity politics, this kind of Black identity politics. Everything has to be about us being Black people.
That's a smoking gun. Literally, the entire ADOS movement is built on identity politics.
Yeah.
Literally, its entire foundation is identity.
I mean,
lineage.
How old was it? Is this video is not 10 years ago?
Listen.
Then she got some explaining to do.
Like, this is crazy. ADOS is literally an identity group.
It's based on lineage.
One of her most sayings is, we are an identity. We are a lineage. But she's saying here that we need to stay away from identity politics. And basically saying we shouldn't get stuff and live our life just like we're just Black. We're not just Black.
We're American. That's what she's saying.
Everything being about us being poor people.
See, she says it's not about us being Black. It's about us being poor. Ooh.
Well, then when it's not about us being Black, it's about us being poor. Then you're lumping us within everybody
white,
else.
Hispanic, anybody can count now.
Because that's the argument that That's the argument that other races use all the time.
That's the argument.
Just because you're Black and I'm white doesn't mean we both don't suffer poverty.
Yep. And basically, it's basically white socialism. It's just that's all it is.
Poor, and he wants us to follow down that road, which really is a road to nowhere. It leads to a goose egg. You know, the most interesting thing to me.
Fighting for something because you Black leads to nothing. That's what she just said.
Me about what Ta-Nehisi Coates said in terms of how he defined reparations is that he never really defined reparations. And when you ask him about, hey, what does reparations look like and what is it supposed to be? He says, well, I don't have all the answers.
Now, if you remember, Bernie Sanders, when he was asked a question by a Black person, do you support reparations? His answer was, what is reparations?
And he was consistent with that answer.
What is reparations? Is it money? It's like, how is this a difficult conversation? As a Jewish man, your people receive reparations. It's pretty easy to understand what it is. But at this point, Yvette was agreeing with Bernie Sanders.
Reparations is money, land, wealth,
protected class. It's protected class. Now she goes on further.
What you really don't have is me that what Bernie Sanders has here doesn't go far enough. And I would ask, like he says, he said in a more recent piece, he says, black people have more concentrated poverty. Black people are even more poor than white people, than white poor people. That's who we are. Well, that's true, but that really guts his case. Because if you really know how poor we are as black people, then you know that, okay, cutting us a check ain't gonna get it.
Cut the check.
Oh my God! Remember that was cut the check. Come on.
But I don't. They didn't start that though.
I don't think they did. Who was that?
That was
was that Tariq?
No, that was the other one.
Who?
Professor
Black Truth.
Yes. Cut the check.
She didn't agree at this point that cutting the check would do anything for us.
I'm still saying, cut the motherfucking check.
And what we need is real infrastructure and real investment from the government. Everything from healthcare, everything from free college education. I mean, when you look at Flint, Michigan right now, that's just perfect for me. You can't give black people a check for free.
Oh, you can't get these people who have suffered so much
money,
trauma.
You can't give them money.
Well, what do you give them?
Look, this is not an attack on her. It's
definitely not an attack on her. She just has some explaining to do.
Like, this is a damning.
Because Bernie Sanders, he ran. Did he run when Obama and Hillary was running?
No. He ran against Hillary. He didn't run against Obama.
Okay.
The only reason why he ran is because Elizabeth Warren didn't run in 2016, so he ran.
So this video,
this has to be 2015, at least. I doubt it's 2016. It has to be 2015, maybe 2016. I don't know, sure. Man. I don't know. But somebody made a point. It was like, did you see that video of Yvette talking about black culture? What's your thoughts on it? This girl said, are you talking about the video where she said she's talking about Thanksgiving and food? He said, why she said that she's been doing this work for 10 years. That's an obvious lie. This was when she was she was with boys. In 2016, she didn't support reparations. She expressed that in a written article. She only been doing this ADOS stuff for a couple of years. And she said, I think when she says that she's talking about doing political work, she was an aide on the Capitol Hill for Barbara Boxer in California, which is closer to Capitol Hill than most of us have ever worked. He said, nope, she was talking about ADOS. That's why she says ADOS her life work. She must be 3. Because that's how long she's been talking about African-American issues from a reparation standpoint. I mean, listen.
You hate to see it.
I mean, look, I believe
but you love to call it out.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. But you can't act like you built something 100% by yourself and that nobody else deserves any credit. When you discredit the chapters that did all the groundwork and say that we was building the house, all you brought was a blanket and a pillow. It seemed like they brought the nails, the hammer, the damn wood. I mean, it seemed like they brought the stuff. You wrote the plan out for the house.
You did the blueprint.
Yeah, you wrote the blueprint.
Well, let's be
honest.
Dr. Sandy Darity,
Claude Anderson.
They wrote They did the blueprint.
You dusted it off. And found it in the attic.
Revised it.
Yeah, you revised it.
She added on
a basement, an attic, a pool. She even added a pool to it.
She added a pool, a jacuzzi, a little outhouse for guests. She did the guest part.
A nice driveway. Yeah.
And that's not discrediting any work they've done. Yeah. But you have to be honest and say you took other people's ideas and
put
them
together and modernize them.
And you and Tone did a great job of bringing this to the forefront. But at some point, you have to be willing
to work with people who got different ideas. You can't make everybody fall in line with you. It's not ever going to work.
That's the problem. We don't think alike. But just because we don't think alike doesn't mean we can't come together and compromise.
There's a difference between us having different ideas on how to get stuff done and us having different ideas on what the problem is. There's no way in hell black people shouldn't agree on what the problem is. We might disagree on how to get the solutions, but the problems should be obvious. We should all agree on the problems in our community. There's no way we should disagree on that, but we can disagree on the solutions. These people seem to be disagreeing on the problems. How, I don't know. I mean, it seems the one thing they only want to focus on is reparations. And I said when ADOS started, go ahead.
At the end of the day, when a movement is not righteous, it will never prevail. It will never That's the problem. Every movement we had was not righteous.
Wasn't righteous. I agree.
And until we get a righteous movement, we're gonna be in this position.
Yeah. But there's a lot of drama surrounding this ADOS thing. Now, let me say this. They have been attacked a lot. And it seems like when you're a person that's being in a war constantly, when you have no battles to fight, you tend to look for an enemy. And I think that's what a lot of what Yvette and Tone have been doing. They've been looking for an enemy the last couple of months. I mean, anybody that says anything to disagree with is you're an enemy now.
This is how I think Yvette and Tone at first, they were not really, I say like the first 2 years, I don't think they were really saying anything back to people. I think when in Cobra tried to patent their name.
I think it was Tariq.
With Tariq too. I think when all that stuff shit hit the fan with they were like gloves off. Yeah, anybody could get it. We're gonna say your name. We're not gonna be like beating around the bush trying to not say the name. We're gonna say the name. We're gonna go full force after you.
And I agree with him. I felt like he was trying to co-opt them.
He definitely was trying to co-opt the movement.
I have no problem with them defending themselves. They went to the DM, tried to contact him constantly. He wouldn't respond. I had no problem with that. But how the hell you create beef with Sandy Darity? Like this, he's a come on. Like, we know what type of dude he is. Like, come on, man. But anyway,
and he from North Carolina, I believe.
I think so. I think he's a professor at Duke.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just our little opinion on the ADOS situation. I don't know where it goes from here. Honestly, it seems like a lot of the chapters are starting to leave and go join other groups. The Assembly, I think, is popping up. This guy here, Marlon Watson, he's one of those people that kind of left the ADOS HQ organization. So it's no longer a lineage, so we can't call ourselves ADOS. So I don't know what we're gonna do. But anyway, peace.